Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Luo Nyanza, and this is Political Headache. I am in the studio with the Honorable Kennedy Ondiek. Kennedy Ondiek, how are you doing?
I'm good, my brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
How is Homa Bay?
Homa Bay is doing well.
Yeah.
It's only important they need to know that this Kennedy is a chairman, national chairman of Progress Plus Alliance, a big party which is coming up, and it's going to shake the status quo in the region. Where
I want you to tell me more about the party, because the last time I checked, you are a UDA member, and you were helping UDA capture the seat in 2022. Why did you leave so fast?
Yeah, first I am a believer in democratization of Kenya, and so it should affect our region as well, because you see we are in Nyanza region, particularly our Luo region. We have thrived in single party. So I believe in it since 2016 to 17. I believe that we needed an alternative party. And that is why I was not just a member of UDA. Initially, I left ODM. By the way, I served as a member of County Assembly and served in the County Assembly of Homa Bay on ODM ticket. Then I chose a path of democracy, and I decided to join PDP. PDP, where we were with the Kotobado, until the registration issues became hectic, and we had to leave it because we could not continue.
What was wrong with the registration? They refused to put the Obado's name on it.
No, Raila and his friends decided that PDP should not be allowed because it was going to offer competition to ODM. So they connived. I don't know whether that one can go now, but they connived to ensure that we don't have capacity to field any candidate as a party. So we didn't. In fact, PDP did not field any candidate. But then I continued with the journey of democratizing our region. That is, although I went back, I voted for Raila Odinga for president in 2022. And we prayed for him up to Supreme Court. When Supreme Court declared that he is not the president, William Ruto became the president. And when Ruto became the president, he appointed my brother, Dr. Raymond Omolo, to the position of the Permanent Secretary of Interior. And it is Raymond Omolo who approached me, and we agreed to work together towards popularizing UDA, because I felt that now is now opportunity to open up Nyanza from the ODM dominance. So, because we knew with the president on our side, now we had the machinery, we had the capacity, we have the opportunity, and it was a time to hit hard. And we did hit hard until you saw the level UDA reached. That is when I was a member of UDA. But when ODM and UDA merged into the bread-based government, I said, no, these ones are going to take us back to the zoning time where they would say, no, now that we are working together with UDA, if you are a member of ODM, you cannot, if you are a member of UDA, you cannot run for a position in this region. So it was going to take us back to ODM dominance, but in the process of merger with UDA. So I said, no, this cannot work. That's when I started a process with my friend, Arnold Maliba, of registering a party. And that is what brought in the Progress Plus Alliance. So that while those people are going to be in broad-based government, fielding a candidate as a broad-based candidate, the way you saw them saying that this is now a broad-based candidate, we will be able to field our own candidate as PPA candidate, so that we forge our political path to ensure democratized region. But this one party state in our region, while we are talking about national democracy, cannot work, because you see Article 38 does not apply only for Kenya, but it applies even for your village. In fact, it applies even for your house. Even your wife should be a member of a different party when you are a member of another party, because it is democratic right to associate with whoever you want to associate with at any given time. It is constitution, not us.
I want to ask you a question. Some two things that is very interesting that you brought up. Number one that I want to ask you, a lot of people in Kenya are wondering, how do you register a party, and what is the process of registering a party? Because one of the last week actually, a Gen Z was asking me here in the studio, how do you register a party? I want to ask you that. But before you answer that question, I want to go back to what you were doing for UDA in Nyanza. what was the end goal of working for UDA Nyanza? Because we have always known that it's a six-piece in Nyanza. So when Ruto and the people that wanted a piece of Nyanza were sending you guys there, what was the idea? Is to get 500,000 votes, 100,000 votes? What was the idea?
First, we have to appreciate that President William Ruto is a shrewd politician.
Okay.
And even as people talk about 2027, I don't know what they are saying. Because this is a man who they are not going to beat by any standard. So
you sure?
I'm starting from that. When Chinua Achebe was writing his book, A Man of the People, he said, Chief the Honorable Eme Nanga was the most approachable politician in the country.
Yes.
Even if you go to his hometown, Anata, you will find, they will tell you that he was a man of the people. But he didn't only say that. He said, but I have to admit this from the onset, or else the story I'm going to make will make no sense. The fact that, the reason why I'm saying that William Ruto is a shrewd politician is that immediately he got into power, he realized that the best opponent he has is Raila Odinga. And to get Raila Odinga's vote, he had to now create an onslaught into our region. And then he also used an opportunity and he realized that this is a region that is highly yearning for democratization, a region that needs an alternative. And that was the basis of his trying to reach out. And number two, he had showed interest of working with Luo community. And that is why he invited them into government, even if we gave him 3%, in fact less than 3%. The votes which he said are like Panya. We gave him very small votes. So that one is the reason. His motive was actually to open up the space and also to embrace the community and also to be embraced among the community, the people. And that's why there is a place where I said, William Ruto was already winning the hearts of the Luos even before broad-based government came in. Because the first county that the president visited after being sworn in was not his own county, was not Uasin Gishu County. He visited Homa Bay County for a church service on Sunday. I'm very sad that all our elected leaders abandoned him. They all ran away. Nobody came to receive the president in Homa Bay, including the governor.
Can you paint for me a picture of that? Because I think a lot of the people in the audience would not remember that. What happened? Can you contextualize it?
I can tell you, when William Ruto was sworn in as the president, the county that he visited first was Homa Bay County. In fact, I can tell you that the elected leaders disappeared. In fact, they ran away. He went to a church in Homa Bay and he worshipped there. He was accompanied by some people, but not our elected leaders. When he came back second time, he was launching affordable housing. They all abandoned him. Remember, that time is when they were having sufurias on their heads. They were talking about Ruto must go. So it was about that time. And even when there are so many development projects which were planned and executed before these people could come in. And at that time I was the coordinator of UDA Nyanza. So I was in charge of popularizing the president and the projects within the region, including
You mean the president's visit?
No, I am the one who was marketing the president.
Okay.
Including his visits, including his activities, both in all in Siaya, Kisumu, and all that.
Can I ask you
I was coordinating and popularizing UDA. We were also coordinating membership of our people into UDA.
The politicians had taken off for obvious reasons because they did not want to probably anger Raila Odinga or anger the people. But how did you make the electorate come to this event?
What happened is that first we let the people see what president has for them. Because the president would not always come for nothing. He always came with a proper itinerary containing particular development agenda which were actually to be implemented and which were properly implemented. When we talked about affordable housing in Homa Bay, they were visible. When you look at the Koginga market, which is now the fish market in Homa Bay, it was on. If you look at the Paya, it was being done. If you look at the if you look at the headquarters of Rangwe constituency, it was being done. If you look at very many roads which are being done within Homa Bay town, they were already planned. So you realize that people wanted to listen to development. So what I want to tell you, our people had changed mind from listening to rhetorics to start listening to development. So that is how they started embracing the president. And this would be the point where the ODM cabals realized that Ruto is penetrating with or without them. So when Gen Z movement came in, they had no option. I want to tell you, and it should go on record, Raila Odinga did not go to help Ruto. Raila Odinga went to save himself by working with Ruto to control Luo Nyanza, because already Nyanza was going into Ruto with or without him. So he needed a way to craft his space so that this region could still be under his control, even as William Ruto takes the people, because he had already started taking the people. Because if you go to Bondo, see the other side, Bondo Liunda Road was already being done. If you went to Migori, the airport, the other things were being done. Our people are listening more to the, if you need to go to Gogo Falls, power stations being improved. That time, even before, even while they were carrying sufurias on their heads, development was already knocking into our people's doors. So they chose to follow the president. They would have followed the president even if these people didn't get into broad-based government. That's my position.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Remember my second question about registration of parties. We are still coming back to it. But I want to indulge you a little bit more on this issue because I find it extremely interesting. So we have an election. Ruto wins, not by a landslide, but by 200,000 votes. His first itinerary is to a place that basically did not give him any votes. Okay? We have voter-rich Rift Valley that had given him a lot of votes. But the people that also had helped him a lot was Mount Kenya. So can you get into the mind of Ruto for me and ask this question? Why so quickly to Nyanza, while the people that he should have thanked, quote unquote, such as Rift Valley and Murima, were not getting him or seeing him?
Yeah, President Ruto embraced politics of inclusivity. And while his then deputy chose the path of division by talking about the shareholding aspect, he chose collective argument of a nation so that we can have a country that is united, not divided based on how you voted. So he realized that even though the Luo community gave him very few votes, he knew where the strength of leadership in this country is, and he chose to go for that strength. Why do I say so? You know, you can be a president, as many have been in this country, but you can't rule without the Luos around you. You have always seen, not even just about Raila himself, but because that Raila was a symbol. Raila was not only a person, he was a symbol of us. He was a symbol of our strength. He could cough and we are all comfortable. He could smile and we are all comfortable. Once he complained, we were all complaining. Once he smiled, we were all smiling. And it was a belief, and we still hold it, that wherever he is, he may his soul rest in peace. Wherever he smiles, we will still smile. And that's why we believe that his spirit will live upon us. But which spirit is this? Spirit of the struggle. Spirit of ensuring democratized country. Spirit of ensuring inclusivity. Spirit of ensuring equity. And that is what William Ruto embraced. And even if you look at how he distributes, or the government distributes development project, it is not about one region. And that is why he went to Homa Bay for the first time. And in fact, shortly later, Raymond Omolo was made the PS. He was in Homa Bay welcoming the PS in the prayer day for the PS. So you realize that he has, in fact, Homa Bay County is the county William Ruto has visited the largest number of times since he became the president. So that one tells you how much he wanted to bring not only the votes, but the Luos. You know, there is an aspect of the votes.
Why to Homa Bay specifically? Is it because of the friendship that he enjoys with Wanga? And you would say that Anyang' Nyong'o in Kisumu is not very friendly, and Orengo obviously in Siaya is not very friendly?
No, the president frequents Nyanza But I'm saying the county he has visited the largest number of times is Homa Bay. But he visits Nyanza, and in fact, he wants our community to develop equally. In fact, you realize that his visits are usually running across. He comes from Siaya in the same trip to Homa Bay, to Migori, across. It's only that Homa Bay is unique. Even Raila frequent Homa Bay more than he frequents Siaya. You look at Raila's visits, apart from the fact that he lived he could go to his home, but his most important political activities were usually in Homa Bay. Yeah, because Homa Bay is actually unique because of its interconnectedness. You realize that there is the fact of Kisii, our neighborhood gives us a strong position. At the same time, our politics, we play very strong politics. We play very hard politics. Like now, it is being played in
contact sport.
In fact, like in rugby, I used to be a rugby player. There was a point when we say contact, you hit it so hard. So Homa Bay is a point where you don't entertain a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of hard politics there. So like now it is being felt in Kasipul. Yeah. So I will talk about a little of Kasipul because those people are burning their money for nothing. Of course, Boyd will win, but Arauco and his cannot win. So the nature of our politics is in Homa Bay is usually the heartbeat. In fact, it used to be Raila's bedroom. That is a place which gave Raila all elected positions in parliament, all the governor, the senator, the women rep, and 8 members of parliament, and large number of members of county assembly, except but a few independent candidates. So Homa Bay is and also is a hub.
So the reason why Ruto was traversing Luo land immediately after his election of 2022 was out of the goodness of his heart. Did you think that the president that preceded him had not considered Nyanza and refused to develop Nyanza for one reason or the other?
Yeah, I can make it as a proper shot that President William Ruto embraced politics of inclusivity. And he felt that we cannot move without certain parts of this country. And Nyanza is a very critical part of this country, bearing in mind that we have had Raila Odinga for so long as our political leader, and he remains in our hearts. So you realize that he needed a way of getting that vote. At the same time, President William Ruto also sensed in advance the misconduct which was expected of his deputy president and the force that Gachagua has at the mountain. So he had to start thinking post 2022 because we usually take supper, but we also think of tomorrow's lunch. So that is what William Ruto was thinking about. Yes, he already had the supper, which he's having, but the lunch, that is 2027, how would he pass the test? And this test is passed by numbers, and these numbers are somewhere. So he had to look for how to galvanize these numbers, while he also wanted to galvanize the country. And you also have to remember, our region has been neglected for quite a long time. So giving us the space and working along with us is there. So, but for us, now, those of us who are in UDA, we felt that there are some young leaders who we could nurture next to William Ruto, even if he's away from Raila, because we were blocked down there in the village. So you could not emerge to be anybody unless you sing Raila Baba, Raila Mama, Raila Roho Mtakatifu. So some of us who felt that I can't sing that song of Raila what, Raila that, we were not having space there, so we needed a place where we could go. And we believe that William Ruto was offering a space that a young Luo would one day thrive after he leaves. And that's why we were building people like Eliud Owalo, Dr. Raymond Omolo, and a few others next to him. And even as I speak, that will bring me to why I need us to embrace broad-based government. That we need our people, like now John Bad is strongly next to the president. We need him there. We need people like Opeo and I, so that we strengthen ourselves next to the real system. You know, the system which we were told that Uhuru gave us, and that deep state, that was not ours. In fact, that was conmanship. In fact, Uhuru conned us. He made us believe that he can give us power, yet he actually never intended to do that. So that is what I want to say, that we need to gather ourselves next to power so that we get power. The more we keep staying away from power, makes us be vilified and be made as arrogant fellows, and no one wants to embrace us. So let us walk next to this. If we get opportunity in 2032, because I can tell you categorically, there's no any Luo.
Wait, why are we talking about 2032?
Because 2027 is done. Unless William Ruto refuses to run. It is done.
Mr. Kennedy, please. What do you mean it is done?
For the presidency.
There are several things that you've said there. Yes. And I'm coming back to my question of political party. But it is you who keeps me getting back to what I'm asking.
Yes.
There is something interesting that you said. I'm going to ask you about umesema Raila Baba, Raila Mama, Raila Roho Mtakatifu.
That one is what we refused.
That is something that was going on there for a long time, for the last, would you say 20 years? 20, 30 years?
In fact, for the decades he survived in Poland. From 1992, it has been that. Because we went to 97, it started like that.
I think would you say that 1992 was also very heavily Raila Odinga, the leader of the Luo nation?
No, that was Oginga Odinga.
That was Oginga Odinga.
So after Oginga Odinga, you remember, in 94 when Jaramogi died, Wamalwa Kijana took over Ford Kenya, and Raila never liked it. And that was the beginning of NDP. You can remember Raila resigning, then running in Kibra, the then Langata constituency on NDP ticket, and he won. And that would be the emergence of NDP into 1997. So from 1997, it has been Raila Baba, Raila Mama, Mwana Roho Mtakatifu. Yes. So that is what political ideology some of us rejected. And I don't believe that we are supposed to have leaders who campaign on premise of Raila Odinga. I expect us to have leaders who campaign on premise of the people, for the people, and by the people, so that we have policies designed in manifestos in a manner capable of being implemented by the people, not somebody who is being given opportunity simply because he sang so well next to Raila Odinga, or because he really praised Raila Odinga. You are saying
that you rejected it, but what do you mean you rejected it? Even at the point, even shortly before Raila's death, we were singing Raila Mama, Raila Baba, Raila Roho Mtakatifu in Kasipul. Actually, Kasipul could be said to be a direct ticket. But I'm not going to go there because it's going to inflame you. Not yet. Not yet. So what I want to ask you is, right now that Raila has died, a lot of people are saying that we have remnants of Raila Baba, Raila Mama, Raila Roho Mtakatifu. And that is why when you saw what happened in Mombasa, Winnie Odinga was telling us that we need, that the party was not formed in the bedroom, that this party needs to be ruled by the constitution. ODM, her uncle stood up and said that, my dear daughter, we can actually deal with this thing as a family. You heard what Orengo said, you heard what Babu said, and you heard what Millie Mabona said at Fix the Nation, when she said that actually Wanga has relied so much on Raila Odinga and she's panicking right now. So now that Raila obviously is gone, may he rest in peace, what happens now?
Yeah, you have talked about what was said by so many people.
Yes.
And I really listened to all of them.
Okay.
And I will take it from the Winnie's angle and also talk about Millie's angle. Okay. I don't want to talk about what Babu said, because much which Babu said was not there. He only told us that the people of ODM never saw him worth a position. So I think that's the biggest thing he said.
Okay.
And then he said how far they have come with Raila. That one I think was not so contentious. There were two contentious issues, one raised by Winnie and another one raised by Millie on the Fixing Nation. I want to talk about what Winnie said. We need to understand it in two folds. One, Winnie was telling us as Kenyans and the members of and they are members of ODM. Although, of course, she was addressing ODM members, but she was also addressing us who are non-ODM members, but are Luo. She was trying to tell us that ODM was not a product of private engagement. It was a product of public engagement, supported by the struggle, based on the Constitution, And that was the belief, which I said here. Raila believed on democratized nation, equitable nation, and a nation where the rights are alive, rights are protected, and fundamental freedoms are promoted. But I only want a small issue with Winnie, that even her feeling of entitlement that Raila Odinga is her father is not supposed to be what she needed to demonstrate to us. And that's why I fault Oburu by saying they will discuss it as a family. They cannot go and discuss ODM matters as a family. That one will relegate ODM into Odinga project. I wished Winnie would have made the people know that ODM is a struggle and they will continue to struggle. The only thing also which I reject her statement on is the fact that as a community we are not intending to go back to struggle and fight against every regime. Because that is what has made us sidelined, and that's why for us we are going to be the next lawyers, we are going to be the next kisses, and the next mix of people, so that we will always be aligning with the government. Whoever doesn't want to be in the government will always be out, while our community will not be out. That is why I said, as long as we still don't have a person who is properly placed to run for presidency in 2022, we are not going to gamble. And whoever wants us to gamble in the name of either ODM or the name of what will not convince us, because we have a place to roost. You know, when chicken go home, they roost at a place. So we have a place to relax. We have a place to sit as we strategize after Raila is gone. Because you see, sometimes we could just don't care because Raila was there. You know, sometimes we were not caring about the next thing because we know Raila was caring for us. So we didn't care. So now we have to care. If we don't care, there is no more Raila to care for us. And the kind of persons I see who claim to be Raila's remnants, those are nothing. Who is a remnant there?
Can I ask you a question before
yes,
you go back to...
because I can point each and every one of them. Maybe Mbadi is having a focus. The rest are just hanging about a fruit. Some are even mourning over the loss of Raila and the loss of their future politics. Because some of them, their politics was purely based on Raila. And without Raila, there's no politics they can play. Because whenever they took microphone, it's the only Raila's name they could invoke. They could invoke nothing. Some of us will face them and beat them because there is no name to invoke this time.
Can I ask you a question still on Winnie's issue? Do you think that Winnie was saying that we should be belligerent and we should find our place in the opposition where we have always been as the Luo nation? Was that what she was saying? Or she just had a problem with the fact that there is a conclave that was set up immediately after Raila's death? They went to a place and agreed that Oburu should be the next party leader, against the constitution, which states very clearly that for you to elect a party leader, there must be an NDC. Don't you think that is what Winnie was referring to?
Yeah, I believe that in my understanding, and I like the girl. I don't know whether she's a girl in respect of my age, but I like the lady. Let me call her the lady. I like the lady, the honorable member, Winnie, because of one thing. She spoke out. And she said what some people would not be willing to say. The only thing I would not wish that be brought in is like it is a family thing. And that's why I slightly fault Oburu on when he came and talked about such we'll deal with as a family matter. But now what she said was clearly a demonstration that ODM is a struggle. ODM is a movement. ODM is a force. It is not a negotiation. So, because ODM was a product of a battle, it was a product of a struggle, and that is true. And when she was trying to refer it as so, she was only reminding the people who could have gotten opportunities without struggling, because Raila struggled. But some who were seated in the front bench on that ceremony were not as products of a struggle. They were products of hand lifting. So she was simply reminding them that in as much as you are seated here, the cohort of you, remember, this thing was a struggle. It was not given on a silver platter. Of course, Oburu was given on a silver platter, because I also don't know the basis upon which Oburu was made the party leader. I don't know. So I think she addressed that, but also she was also cautioning those who would think that it will be easier to operate ODM, because ODM was Raila and Raila was ODM. Yes.
The question I wanted to ask you, which has been in my mind, and I don't know whether Mr. Honorable Kennedy, you are bold enough to give me an answer. Do you consider yourself a bold man?
For me, in Luo we say, I don't see darkness and urinate in the house. I always urinate outside. However dark it is. Yeah. So bring it on. Okay. I'll answer you. And in fact, I'll answer you the hardest.
In 2005,
yes,
there is a referendum. Okay?
Yes.
On the Wako draft.
Yes.
And Raila and co win.
Yes.
A resounding win. Kibaki does not like it and decides to dissolve his cabinet, and ultimately kicks out the entire Raila and his team.
Yes.
They ran away to get a new party, the Orange Democratic Party. They realized that Imanyara actually had gone ahead of them and registered the party. They decide that they are going to form ODM Kenya, registered by Kalonzo Musyoka's friend.
Dan Manzo.
Yeah. Okay? But then when they want to get a candidate of ODM Kenya, Kalonzo Musyoka does not want to give Raila the opportunity to run. And they actually run away with the party. Raila remains partyless, goes to Imanyara and tells him, look, these people have robbed me of what I got. Okay? So help me. And Imanyara, out of the goodness of his heart, decides to say, Odinga, you struggle. This is actually your thing. I was only playing a game. This is your this is your party. And that party, Raila, I think that when you're buying a party, there is a transaction. You pay something to relinquish, or you get something to relinquish the party. So ODM has been Raila's for a long time. And when we come back to the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga family, we have we have Raila Odinga's family, and we have Oburu's family. Okay? Yeah. And now that Raila Odinga is dead, ODM, in quote unquote, a lot of people are saying, has left Raila's home and jumped to Oburu's home. And now it appears that now ODM has gone to another house. In Luo, if you're a Luo, you understand it so well.
Yes.
What is your thinking? Because when I saw Winnie, I was thinking that this thing is like ODM or the Ordinato.
Okay, fine. You asked me to answer it as boldly as possible. Yeah. That I see no difference.
Okay.
Because it is Odinga's. Unless now we want to segregate and separate Oburu's from Raila's, then I say the following. One, a property is owned by a person. In case ODM is a property, then it must be within the estate of the owner. And the owner is Raila Odinga. And if it is moving its ownership from the estate of Raila Odinga into the estate of Oburu Odinga, then there must be a tussle. And if it is actually a property, which I don't want to believe it to be, then there is a problem which actually is looming. But personally, I want to look at it again on the second angle of knowing what it is. You may have a Volkswagen car. You're the one who knows its challenges. But when it is handed to your brother might not know that the car had a poor brake. And I'm very sure that braking system might cause an accident, because the brother might drive without understanding when was it to brake and when was. The reason why I'm saying that, ODM as a vehicle must need a driver who understood it. I believe Oburu understood, because he was too close to Raila, more oftenly on sensitive issues. But that notwithstanding, I can realize, if you look at what happened in Mombasa, in my understanding of what is usually ODM, the meeting in Mombasa is not the ODM style. Because even how it was concluded, it was so concluded so haphazardly that It's only the president who came to maybe grace the occasion. I didn't see sensible persons who should have been there. I expected a president, maybe as a certain activist or maybe struggler from anybody in the democratic struggle from Africa who would have joined that particular session. I didn't see anyone. Even the order of how things were conducted, it was more of a rally. It was not what Raila usually does. You know, when Raila came in, personally I've also worked closely with Raila because I served in that party as a member of ODM. So I can tell you what happened in Mombasa is a sign of a vehicle which has lost a driver. And the driver currently driving it doesn't know how the vehicle was moving. Because you could sense it. One, if Raila invited President Ruto to that function, then I'm telling you that he must have had something which he was to talk about in respect of the broad-based government. The structure of engagement, he could have talked about it. But you see now, everybody was talking there about, oh, Mara, broad-based, but because there was no order. And I'm telling you, there's purely no order, and that's what I like. That being there's no order there, it is going to collapse and our parties will emerge. But now, if you look at even how it was concluded, did you see any agenda? Did you see them reading any consensus or any statement? Did you see them even coming out to say, okay, fine, after the 2 days or 3 days deliberation of ODM at 20, the following, like Anyang' Nyong'o usually reads them. Did you see Anyang' Nyong'o reading anything?
There was no declaration.
Anyang' Nyong'o usually stood, or maybe Sifuna would have stood as the Secretary General, as said, dear members, having had deliberations for 3 days, being the celebration of ODM at 20, members of the National Governing Council, members of the delegates, whatever, all the members of ODM gathered in Mombasa and made the following declarations. Number 1, number 2, number 3, usually 8 points agenda, 10 points agenda, 9 points. Did you see any?
Nothing.
There's none. That one tells you that this vehicle is a good vehicle, yes. From the packaging, as you saw, the color is nice. They gathered so well. They sang so tuned. And the musicians graced the occasion, including the president also went. But at the end, what was there is not ODM, the vehicle we know. So that one tells you that Winnie was telling them, this vehicle has a way it is being moved. This vehicle has a system by which it moves. This vehicle has a limit of speed, and as a minimum speed it can move. She was only reminding them that while you think that the person you are given the mantle to drive is actually capable of driving this vehicle, you must go back to the drawing board and find a driver for this vehicle, because this vehicle is of a struggle. Today Oburu cannot struggle. He can't be on the streets. Oburu can't even fight anything. At the same time, this vehicle is a product, not of a household. He was trying to tell the people that don't look at this thing as a mere family thing. It is a bigger thing. It's a street thing. It's a national thing. So we need to focus more on how to make it bigger, to be the national thing it used to be, and to avoid pettiness and probably home politics. I think that is what I can deduce out of that.
All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. You know, everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world, and there is no one to do them except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my book, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjigero.co.ke. And now, back to programming. Fair enough. Let's go back to the party issue. How a party is formed, and when you talk about broad-based government, with respect to Luo Nyanza, correct? I want to ask you this: the broad-based government is largely between ODM and UDA. If you know, do you agree?
I agree. It's about
yes. So when the other small parties, let me not say small.
Hey, you will be disrespecting mine. You'll be disrespecting
when the other parties. So, in your head, do you think that all these other parties are part of the broad-based government, or how are they relating to the broad-based government?
Yeah, I want us to understand, Jagero, this aspect of broad-based government, because, of course, I opposed it initially. Since I didn't like the merger, or maybe the working arrangement between ODM and UDA, because it was taking us back as a region to the political party dictatorship of ODM if they became friends with UDA, so we would not have our political space. But in the process, I've come to embrace it. One, because of how Raila moved it with the president. He embraced the fact that we needed development in our region, and every time he stood and talked, he talked of still ensuring effective governance, even while he was talking next to the president. And in fact, even embraced Sifuna, when Sifuna was telling people things which people don't want to hear, even members of ODM, even when they wanted to stop Sifuna from being the Secretary General, Raila still said, Sifuna speaks for the party. And even when they were really firing at Orengo, when Orengo spoke everything, Raila still said, these are my people. The fact is this: broad-based government is a culmination of a movement which came because of the Gen Z movement. It was to stabilize the country. But for me as a Luo, I hope you asked me so that I talk with respect to our region.
Yes.
This arrangement, while it is largely ODM, UDA, but you realize that it is more of Kenya Kwanza Azimio. Of course, the other parties of Azimio did not feel part of it, and so Kalonzo ran away, and that former party leader of DAP Kenya, because Eugene Wabalo is no longer party leader, he has been removed. So they walked away. But the thing is this: the broad-based government cuts across the whole country. You realize that there are people who are willing to work with the president across the country. It is only now the duty of the president and those who are running broad-based government to make it attractive, appealing, and something that makes people want to be next to it, so that it can be meaningful. That's why I say the persons who are currently driving this vehicle of broad-based government must be careful on what comes out of their mouth. And that's why I talk strongly to our leaders in Nyanza. Even if we are in broad-based government, or we embrace broad-based government, we must also be careful what we disseminate in terms of our talking, so that we don't incite other people to hate us. They will overly hate broad-based government, because when we, like Atandi talks sometime of him being budget chairman, he's going to allocate large amount of money to this thing. It is not that way. We need to be tactical. We need to be careful. We need to be, we need to position ourselves silently so that we can enjoy development while we also embrace President William Ruto, because we are not capacity to become president as we speak. So that is one. Number two, for the whole country, broad-based government presents us with a collective government. A government which, even if the Kikuyu people claim that they are opposing the government, but they are inside the government. They have a representation, a strong representation in the government. Kambas are well represented in the government. Kikuyus, Luos, and this is a government which is so collective. So I believe that broad-based structure should be made so that it is embraced by the voter, so that it will not be subject of calculation. Because if we calculate based on tribes, then William Ruto might be an eminent loser. But if we calculate based on what services people receive, even though there are challenges left, right, and center, but I believe that this government is delivering. If you look at even what the president presented yesterday as to the roads which are planned for dwelling, you realize that it's like covering the whole country. Roads which are supposed to be done, like the roads which, like going to Nakuru, is still a problem. You know, when you dwell Nakuru, this road going to Nakuru, it is not for Kikuyus. It is not for the Kalenjins there. It is for me leaving Nairobi going to Homa Bay. At the same time, they are also dwelling the one to Yugis. Mm-hmm. So that one tells you how they have balanced development. So in summary, broad-based government was to stabilize the country, and now it is working to deliver certain promises which otherwise could not be delivered if we were in a state of war like the one we had in the very previous past. So I think it is something which, if you asked me, we need to think of how to entrench it further so that the promises are achieved. Like now you realize the reorganization being done on taxes. If we look at our tax base, we widen our tax base as the Treasury is doing and the KRA, so that these taxes can be transformed into services. Kenya will be just okay. But if we go tribal by calculating how many are in Mount Kenya, how many are these, that one will not work. So you suppose that what should happen to the other parties, because originally there was the broad-based government is actually understood to be amalgamation or coming together of UDA or President Ruto and Raila Odinga. That's what has been known to be UDA. Are you saying that people who have other parties that are interested in joining the government or are interested in helping the country grow and move in the same direction should automatically belong to the broad-based government? Yeah, obviously. My brother Jagero, you have to know the constitution we have.
Okay.
It is really progressive to the extent that it allows a group of parties to approach an election as a unit. Remember, there is no party called Kenya Kwanza which went to election. The party which went and won the presidential election was UDA. But in the process, UDA had a post-election pact with other parties. In fact, it was a pre-election movement. I can call it so. Because when we were approaching election, we had Kenya Kwanza. But their agreement was after election, because you realize that even when they were sharing the positions, they were to share those positions, but positions were to be shared subject of election. They did not share those positions before. That is why you realize that the president was UDA, the deputy president was UDA. You did not find Kenya Kwanza there, the president being UDA and the deputy being from another party. So you find that it was an agreement to approach election. And then after election, there are other parties, including MDG, which joined. That Northeastern party also joined. So you realize that they joined after that. So it is a post-election thing. But as we speak now, we are not having an election today. We are having a country to be governed. And even when Raila and William Ruto agreed to work, they were not working towards election. They were working towards developing the country. It means any political party which has good intention for the country must first of all embrace the fact that we have a country to be governed, and this country must be governed by William Ruto up to 2027. If they want to run, then they can run after 2027. Making a country ungovernable makes no sense. I bring you home to Homa Bay. I am personally running for governor for Homa Bay.
Okay.
But
you are.
But you will yes, I am running for governor for Homa Bay. But there's one thing my people know, that I am not disparaging Governor Gladys Wanga because she is currently my governor. I voted for her to be the governor. And she has to serve Homa Bay up to that time when an election will be conducted. And that is why I usually plead with my supporters that we must embrace Gladys as a governor, support her cause in a manner that can deliver to us, so that if at the end we will make a decision, we base our decision based on the fact that we supported and gave opportunity, but this one was shortfall that cannot be corrected. That needs a change of leadership. And that is how I will come in. But not by attacking, like Gachagua is attacking Ruto on some nonsensical issues, which don't even make sense. Like now, I saw the MP, this Kibagendi, talking about Talanta Hela, that is not a priority. Yes, he claims that it's not a priority. But we need those studies. We need several amenities. That is the thing. We cannot just oppose leadership simply because we are a political party that is running for power in 2027. The goal of a political party, yes, even this mind which we have, is to take state power. But if you can't get that state power instantly, you cannot interfere with the running of the state, because the people supporting you, who are your supporters, will not get the services they need to get. If the president has to keep running on top of the vehicle every day because he has to go firefighting because these people are attacking him left, right, and center, he will not sit in the State House to sign important things. So we need to give space to the president to deliver, while we also charter ways of political acquisition. If you want to be president the next time, just I don't see why Gachagua should shout too much, because first he has not said he wants to be president. So if he doesn't want to be president, then he will just keep quiet so that the president can deliver. Can
I ask you something? I think members of followers of Political Headache will be asking themselves the question, and I also probably from the law perspective, how does this amalgamation of parties and pacts, how do they work? So, for example, I want to give you a specific example. We have ODM. We have UDA. What is the name of your party?
PPA.
PPA. So we have PPA, we have UDA, we have Orange Democratic Party. They agree to work together in 2027.
In acquisition of power.
In acquisition of power.
Yes.
What are the nitty-gritties? What are the specifics in law? And how do they move as a team, so that each and everyone remains independent but still a group or a unit?
Yeah, that one is provided for in the Political Parties Act, and also in our constitution. We are allowed to approach an election as a coalition, which we can call it a coalition party, like Azimio was a coalition towards election. So you realize that when we were approaching last election, UDA was the one having presidential candidate. But you realize that in this side, Azimio was a party. That was the difference. So it was Azimio coalition party. That's why you realize that Martha Karua was deputizing Raila. Yet they were from different political parties. Martha did not leave her party to join ODM so that they ran. So that was a coalition pact before election. This one was Kenya Kwanza was a movement to win power, and that is what you are saying. Is either you form a coalition which will have a pact which is registered by the registrar of political parties and received as so. And then this coalition is also received by registrar of political parties, but now they receive your concessions. They receive your agreements that once we get this party gets this party gets this. But some of them remain internal arrangement. But now, to allow democracy in our country, and not to kill small political parties, because if we say a party must be alone, then the party must be so big to the extent that it must be able to cover the whole country to the extent of 24 counties by itself. But that would be difficult because we are having a developing democracy. Even in the US, even in the UK, they grew. There were so many parties in America, things like Whig and the rest. But you see, now they are dwindling because of the massive nature of Democrats and Republicans. So that is what we must struggle to avoid. And that's what Raila died fighting for. Political parties must remain.
Do you mean that, for example, let's talk about... so Homa Bay had your party.
Yes.
Okay, and it's very big there.
Yes.
And people know it there.
Yes.
UDA, for example, is in Rift Valley.
Yes.
For example, and Ruto is saying, okay, let me put my head together with the Honorable Kennedy Ndiek
on PPM.
On PPA, so that he comes into the fold, so that as we go towards the election, we have a party that takes care of Rift Valley and also takes care of Homa Bay. That is the understanding.
Yes.
And then there is another one in Northeastern.
Yeah, that way.
Okay.
But now what I'm saying is that when they get into a coalition, they are allowed to operate as parties on their own, yet in the leadership of the country, they are conceding. That, like the other time we were talking together, I told you that the way we formed the state, we formed the state by receding, maybe leaving, allowing some of our power to get to the state, because we submitted our power to acquire for ourselves to the state, so that the state can provide security, health, and Article 43. But now we remain individuals. You know, we have not we remain ourselves. Therefore, as a state, we have a collective organ of the people. And that is now what brings the collective organ of the parties, making them form a coalition. But these parties should be able to run their affairs, and that's why they field different candidates at their different regions, so that they can win their own positions, but only agreeing on the national position of the presidency. So William Ruto can work with all parties, except those that don't want to work with him, to the extent that when it comes to 2027, they are capable of forming the next government, but with these individuals. And that's why you saw those agreements, the ones which Gachagua tried to present to Parliament, those agreements of maybe this party was to get this one was to get this. So those kind of, why Mudavadi is where he is today, why the Speaker of the Senate is where he is today, why Musalia Mudavadi, why Wetangula is the Speaker today of National Assembly. So those concessions were made. The consents were sought, and the agreements were completed. So they are there, based on the fact that they agreed to approach the presidential campaign as a unit. The presidential campaign as a unit. But that did not stop Mutula Kilonzo from being a Wiper governor, yet Raila was running for president. That one did not stop other parties from winning other positions, yet they were in Kenya Kwanza government.
Okay. I think that is very clear. I wanted to ask you about how parties are formed, but I think we don't have time for that because we need to go to Kasipul Kabondo. What is fundamentally going on there? That is the first question. I want you to draw for me a picture of Kasipul Kabondo. What exactly is going on there?
Kasipul Kabondo is a constituency, and it's a constituency that has been marred with challenges of insecurity. And I have to make it clear for Kenyans today to understand that the insecurity in Kasipul cannot only be attributed to Ongondowere, as some of them have been malinformed. Because Ongondowere was also elected in Kasipul on grounds that is the one who was going to save the people of Kasipul from the banditry of Magwanga. Let us start from there.
Banditry of Magwanga?
Yes, because it was believed that that time Magwanga was seriously unbeatable and they had goons. And those goons were terrorizing people around Kasipul. Okay. And so the people who needed to be saved from the hands of such terrorism embraced who? Ongondowere. And when Ongondowere came in, he was like a savior to them. And they realized that at the end, the teams had to reorganize themselves, and these ones who were around Ongondo remained to be stronger than those ones, and then those ones of Magwanga scattered, because now Magwanga ceased to be the MP for 5 years, only to become deputy governor again. But for that 5 years, those people had to find where to fall. So that is now when other politicians came in. And now, when Ongondo died, you realize that even Ongondo died complaining of the goons. He was ever on the media talking about his life being in danger, many people attacking this. At the same time, his opponents are also talking about the goonship. So, Kasipul, if you look at it, it has been politics of pangas, stones, and unnecessary attacks since Owidi died. Even at the Peter Owidi's time, it was just difficult, because there are some clans there which are also very difficult to manage. Some things like Kokal, Kotieno, and what have you. So there are some things there which are very difficult to manage. So when it came to this, Boyd, for example, is just but a son of Ongondo Weri. And my argument, and which will be my position, is that we cannot simply judge a boy by the conduct of his parents. We can't do that. And if people want to use that as the campaign tool against Boyd, then that is mistaken. I come to Aroko. People at the stage of Aroko, or those who support Aroko, also believe that they are supposed to be saved from the perceived banditry of Ongondo's team. It only happens that these teams are people who are close to Charles Ongondo Weri, and Charles Ongondo Weri was a friend to Gladys Wanga, and when he got the governor got opportunity, he had also to send some of his people to get a job in the county government, because constituency cannot employ. So this is now what brings in this aspect where people now start challenging Gladys Wanga that her workers are the ones who are terrorizing people in Kasipul, because by bad luck you will find at least a suspect is at least either working in the county government or working close to the county government because of the closeness Ongondo had with Gladys. But that is not the truth. The truth is simple. Kasipul will go to election. Whether Aroko, and this one should go on record, and you will call me back in case the opposite happens. Even if they campaign using whatever means, even if they campaign using choppers, donated by who? The Winners of this world, the whoever of this world, I saw them gathering today. They will not win against ODM. They gathered today to declare their support to Aroko. They will not win. Because, you know, our people are structured in a way. Even if I also have my political party, which I'm trying to popularize, but our people are still in the brinks of Raila's. They still believe in Raila's existence. It will take time to change their mind from what Raila thought. And what Raila thought was ODM. And what is ODM is now in Kasipul is Boyd. And Boyd will simply win. They will campaign up to the midnight of the day to the last day of election, but the people will go and rest when elections stop, because campaigns will end 3 days to election.
3 days?
3 days to election. Then our people will, on those 3 days, now our people will be alone. They will now be calculating how much did I get from Morocco, how much did I get from Bior, how much did I get? And then they put them aside. Then they say, okay, these ones brought their money, we are done with them. Wait for election day. The lines will be packed, and they will not be voting for Aroko.
Who is Aroko?
I don't know.
You've told me about
Boyd.
Yeah. Who is he before? Is he a businessman?
That is now what brings me to what kind of politics we need to embrace.
Okay.
Our people have believed so much in money politics, because Aroko is someone with some history I can't explain. He's someone you can't even describe it. Personally, you can describe me as Ondiek Kennedy. I went to Kandie Samanga Primary School. I went to Kandiege Secondary School. I went to Egerton University for first degree. I went to Mount Kenya University for postgraduate degree. I went to Dar es Salaam for a degree, Master of Arts. I went to Moi University Eldoret to study law. I am in Nairobi University struggling with my law, LLM. So you can talk about Ondiek, and then you can talk about me having served as a member of county assembly. I finished and left. You can talk about me as a businessman, because I do jobs, I do contracts, I have companies, I do particular construction jobs. So you can see me in terms of who I am, what I am. But basically, if you ask Aroko where he makes his money and try to ask him to present his business, the same as even Manibior, this Bior person, is also running there in Kasipul.
Okay.
The same thing, you go to Nyakach constituency, for example, you will find somebody called Upande. You will find somebody called this thin one. It's called what?
Careful.
It's called who?
I will not.
It's also running for MP for Nyakach. If you look at them and then you ask them, how did you make the first 1 million? They can't explain. You as Jagero, you started using your phone to cover yourself. Then you got the first microphone.
Yes.
You got these cameras.
Yes.
And you are struggling. In future, maybe after a year, you'll have a full-blown studio.
Yes.
We can see your growth. But how can you go and tell people that you have billions and we can't trace your billions? God doesn't drop money from heaven. After all, everyone would be rich. Rain is falling to everybody. But do everybody cultivate? So I'm telling you, these people, I can't trace his wealth. Though he has money, I can't trace his wealth. What I can trace of him is several crimes. It's over on newspaper. Whenever I read newspapers those days of fake gold, corrupt, stolen, see this thing has been stolen here, left, right, and center, I find Aroko. So I don't find him in another story. And this Manibior also is also campaigning there.
The name is money, yeah, like Pesa.
It's called Riaga somebody. Yeah, it's called Riaga.
But his name on the street is Manibior.
Yes. So when you are a person who is less than 35 years, and the name you can acquire in the streets of Nairobi is Manibior, and we can't trace which company has ever employed you. We can't trace where you have ever earned a salary, or we can't trace which business company you have run, or which office you have which runs contracts. Then you tell us you are Manibior? That is a thief. You must strictly be a thief, because you cannot be rich if you don't do business, you don't earn a salary, and you are on the streets. Okay, fine. Some people are streetwise, but you can't be a billionaire just because you are streetwise. Streetwise men are thieves, and that is a simple thing. So Kasipul have a choice to make, and I wish you could put this one clearly, that Kasipul constituency have a choice to make. To make a choice between a son whom they claim is a son of somebody who was killing people, who was also never arrested, was never charged. We never saw him arrested. We never saw him charged with any murder. We never saw anything. Yet, these people want to charge this boy against his father's story. That is one. Number two, they have a choice to elect someone who claims to have money, but cannot show them where he got the money. They don't know how he made his wealth. And he wants to use that wealth to convince them that he is a better member of parliament. And number three, they have a choice also from another one, who actually happens to be son of a former Kir, but cannot demonstrate where he got the money from. It leaves me with no alternative but to say, Ongondo's son might have Ongondo's name, but is Boyd. He might be judged as Boyd. Aroko might have his money, which we can't judge, but let him be judged as Aroko. If people like him, they will vote for him. But I would appeal with them. I would appeal to Kasipul people that we better look deeper than just what is said of Ongondo Were, because even Ongondo died complaining, and the people he was complaining against are the ones who are running today. So, and the deaths are still on. What do we do?
So, thank you very much for that. The last question I want to ask is about your party. The name of the party, what it stands for. Some of the things that is wrong or right with this country, some of the things that are wrong with this country that you want to right with your party. Some of the manifestos. I'm very interested, especially knowing how you want to transform Nyanza.
Progress Plus Alliance is an alliance of individuals who are focused and who are subject to the principles envisaged in Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya. Because we believe that if we can have good manners in governance in our country, the good behavior that is actually covered in Article 10 on the national values and principles of governance, then our country doesn't even require EACC. Doesn't require much things except by police, maybe to entrench power, to manage public gathering and the rest, because Article 43 will be easily attainable. And that's why we call Progress Plus Alliance a 1043 party. We call it a 1043 party because we believe that we have enough resources as a country. And Raila used to tell us how we were equivalent to Singapore, how we were equivalent to North Korea. But then, these resources are lacking proper management because of bad behavior. Anything which is corrupt, anything which is tribal, anything which is nepotic, anything which is anything is in contravention of Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya, which requires that we lead on particular values and principles, and those which should cover each and every person. And those values should be, any person who is holding any position is supposed to be covering those. Then, when you go to Article 43, that's all Kenyans want. By the way, you as a Kenyan, you only need security, you need good roads, you need good health, you need good education, you need clean water.
Those are the rights.
Those are the basic socioeconomic rights, which if we have good management, our fee, like I usually ask myself, Jagero, why do we have bursaries being sent to schools instead of collecting all these bursaries, this presidential bursary, deputy president bursary, governor bursary, MP bursary, church bursary, all these bursaries? Why can't we just behave well by taking these bursaries to the Ministry of Education so that the schools can be free? Why do you give government MP to go and pay a fee for a government school? Why can't we just have good manners by ensuring that we have free and fair, we have free education at all levels? Why do you need government to give students loan is when they go and learn in the university which they also pay? Why can't government just give that money which they give loan to the universities so that they can have free university education? Why? Why do it's not making sense. The government gives loan to students to pay to the government institution. Yet this university education should be free. Then when they are in the university, they are also given bursary by an MP. They are given bursary by women rep. They are given MP bursary by president, just still to pay to the institution of government. Yet these bursaries, all of it is government money. Why can't it be put together to serve the government? Why is it that government institutions, parastatals, are paying premium to an insurance institution to give them health services, and all this amount which is paid by parastatals as premium to different insurance companies to give them services can be collected to build many Aga Khans in Kenya, to build many high-class hospitals in Kenya, to treat our people. So you don't have to have insurance cover of Jubilee, insurance cover of Express Insurance, Mara, Mako, Mara what for you to be treated. Yet, all this money is still being taken from the government coffers, given to you to give insurance, to give to government. Why can't the government then just use the government money to build those institutions? We are allowing the government to be porous. We are allowing government to be mismanaged. That is what Progress Plus Alliance feels, that for us to have security in this country, you cannot allow importation of guns through some corridor, and then now you go to form a rally of the president to collect them back. You allowed the arms to get into the country, to be given to people in Kerio Valley, and then now you go begging them to give them back to you. It makes no sense. So that is what we believe in, looking for. And that is another thing, even if you look at the roads. Basically, we need to build roads, but where are these roads leading to? We believe that as a country, we need to focus more on production than consumption, because we consume more, like all these things. In fact, in your this place, everything is imported. This glass is imported, this toothpick is imported, this thing is imported, everything is imported. So why don't we even, what is stopping Kenya from manufacturing even toothpick? We can't even manufacture toothpick. So we are looking forward as Progress Plus Alliance to a country capable of manufacturing. This glass, we can manufacture it. We have just decided to interfere with our tax base so that we interfere with our capacity to invest on our own, allowing others to invest in their country to come and sell to us through easy import duty, yet we have made manufacturing to be very difficult inside. So we need just to allow easy manufacturing in Kenya to avoid, we need to make more higher duty on importation and increase local production. So personally, and on behalf of our party, we believe that so much can be done, but it is not doable through chaos. And that's why even myself, I believe that I am not going to say, and it should be on record, that as PPA we are going to fail a candidate for president. No, we are going to align ourselves to a president who is capable of winning. We don't want to filter, we don't want to interfere with the ballot paper, presidential ballot paper for nothing, only to get those meaningless votes.
What is burning in Homa Bay?
My supporters.
We are told that Wanga is not doing anything in Homa Bay.
My supporters should ask me many questions if I appear here and I fail to tell them that I'm running for governor in 2027.
Yeah.
And why? It's because we have Homa Bay Chua movement. Homa Bay Chua is a movement talking about hope, education, many things. I can't say that Wanga is doing nothing. That one is not honest. Okay. Even I would not wish to be judged that way if I become governor. What is happening is that there are challenges which governor, Wanga as a governor is facing. But there are many that can be transformed. That's why we still encourage that our people should focus into ensuring accountability within the county, but it's a positive accountability, so that we just put government to task where actually the task is due. Not just attacking for no reason. Like the statement of doing nothing, I know it has been used severally, but we can't say that she's doing nothing. No, she's doing something. It's only that maybe it has not reached the level that people want it. Now we need to put our minds together. As I said, I will only oppose, but positively to ensure our people get services, not to destroy, because if we destroy it, we'll all lack services. And maybe I can get health care at Aga Khan because I can afford it, but my mother or my sister or my friend who cannot afford beyond Homa Bay health care must get to Homa Bay Referral Hospital. So we must ensure that the referral also is made in a manner that it can serve them. Water is available. So if these challenges are there, we must ensure that they are treated. And as a governor candidate, I hope that at the moment when I'll be officially declaring my candidature, I will be having ability to point out to Governor Gladys that while we gave you opportunity 4 years, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and I so want to do them. And I will tell the people of Mabay how I want to do them. So for now, I would only call upon our people that let us give time to the person who has taken oath to serve us as the governor. It's still too early to have these alabaloos of unnecessary attacks. Let us give our opportunity to serve us. We will challenge her to the duel when the duel is called upon. But before then, we have to wait for her to give us the services. I think that's my personal opinion. And I'm not supporting governor. I'm not opposing governor. I'm only praying and also pointing out that we need her to deliver, and we must give her opportunity to deliver, and that opportunity will be judged upon the whistle when it will be blown. That now we are going for an election, because we are in a Republican democratic system where people serve within a period when people have given them chance, and the period when people still want them, and the period when they actually are within the law. That is 5 years. After that, we will judge them. That's even for the national. Some people should not claim that they are supporting broad-based government. They want the president to be given time to serve, yet they don't want to give governor time to serve. Let each and every person, even an MCA, should be given time to serve. At the end, they will be judged. Governor will be judged against what she has done, and I will be judging her, and that's when I will be saying, fine, you failed here, and I'm going to correct it like this. Then I call for people to vote for me, but not by doing that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kennedy. It's been a pleasure. I really love the conversation, by the way. I really love the conversation, really when we started talking about the broad-based government, ODM, and now that we understand that anybody has the opportunity to stand in Nyanza, vie in Nyanza, and get a seat and serve the people.
Without raising hands.
Yes. Thank you very much, people of the internet. This was Political Headache. Please consider subscribing on our YouTube account. Hit on that notification bell so that when we have a great guest like Kennedy Ndiek, you will be the first person to have a look at it. We are also having a Facebook page, Political Headache. We are having an Instagram page, Political Headache, TikTok page, Political Headache. So do follow us there. Until another episode. By the way, before I forget, we are having a town hall next week on Friday at Ufungamano Hall. We are having Jimmy Wanjigi, we are having Ben Sirkal, we are having Fanya Mambo, we are having Joaquim Simiyu, we are having so many people. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the debt of Kenya. Is it odious? Is it legal? Or is it an illegality? At 2 p.m. If you want to register and come to that town hall, you go to politicalheadache.co.ke. There is a form there that you can fill. Come here and come there, and we will give you a mic to say what you want to say about the debt in our country. Until another episode, bye for now.